Namaste everybody and welcome to the beach. Today we're going to do our first video of our Namaste Mom. Very creative, I know. But essentially this is going to be our parts of the yoga flows that have to do with prenatal care. So obviously you hear it all the time. Women always complain of back pain with pregnancy. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the body that it makes it for tons of fun between hormones, between extra weight, curvature of the spine. We got a lot going on in there. And a lot of people just want to assume that it is not going to go away. Now, in some cases, yes, you're going to always have a mild amount of back pain, but increased activity always helps. So every single morning that I wake up, I do this very short flow. I'm talking 10, 15 minutes, and it makes a world of difference in the rest of my day. Granted, if you're having issues with round ligament pain, problems that you're not 100% sure and you are wanting to get some medical clearance first, go talk to your provider about whether it is safe for you to do physical activity. Most providers will say, yes, you should be doing some sort of activity, and ask for guidance. If they are saying no, then you need to find out why you are not being allowed to do anything, because there could be a specific reason for it. If you've been cleared and you're having some low back pain and you're not exactly sure how to get rid of it, a lot of the times it has to do with where our spine meets our hips at our sacroiliac joint. I do have a flow on the Namaste Beasts program that is SI joint flow, but that is not going to be applicable to what we're doing here because we're limited in what sometimes we can do. So this flow is very simple, very short, and it really just kind of helps to keep the hips moving and really works on our breath once again. The big part is going to be listening to your own body and paying attention to how you feel, particularly once you start getting into those weeks where your abs start to split and you begin to have what they call coning. It's not bad, but you don't want to do poses or anything that could add pressure to that. So you just have to be careful and listen to your body. If you have none of those problems, then you're okay to keep pushing it. This is a light flow, like I said. But just things to keep in mind as you're going through this adventure is just pay attention to your body, listen to it. If you have questions or concerns, ask your provider. So we're gonna meet on the mat in a seated position. Looking forward to get started with you guys. All right, we're going to get started in a seated position. We're going to sit up as tall as we can, as comfortable as we can. The types of pants that you wear is up to you. I know it seems random, but the looser it is across your stomach, depending on how much you're showing, is important. And where your legs are seated is whether it's comfortable to have them close to your body or far away. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna get started with opening the hips with our breath and with some movement. So first thing that we're going to start with is we're gonna sit up tall, we're gonna find our breath. It's important to not to put too much pressure in that cylinder of where your abs are, but again, listen to your body, see how you're feeling. We want to engage appropriately. So from here, let's just take a few deep breaths, because we want to open up, starting with our spine and our lower stomach. So on our inhale, we're just gonna kind of increase that space in our stomach and our chest. And then on our exhale, we're just gonna gently push it out and pushing a little from the bottom of our stomach as well. Let's take a big breath in and out. Wonderful. So let's go ahead and start with some very gentle movement. We're gonna forward fold over our legs, keeping our chest up tall. Now, depending on where you're at and how your stomach is feeling, you may only get to your hands here. If you're feeling like you need a little extra fold and you're used to yoga, you can come all the way down onto your forearms as long as it's comfortable for your stomach. And we're just gonna take a few breaths here. What we're trying to do is open up this low back hip area, kind of where our sacrum meets our spine at our SI joints. And all we're trying to do is just breathe into that space. Big breath in and out. Then we're gonna walk it over to the left, but we're really gonna try and ground through that right butt cheek and kind of very gently, we're not twisting, we're just kind of rotating ourselves up towards the sky. That hits our quadratus lumborum. That is kind of that side muscle that's attached to your iliac crest. It really helps to open this up when your back is feeling tight during your first or second trimester. So we're gonna have a big breath here and out. Big breath in and out. You'll notice as we go along, we're not going to take, go ahead and walk it over to the right, sorry. We're not going to take as deep or as aggressive twists depending on where you're at in your pregnancy. A lot of the times we want to get deep twists in yoga, which normally are just fine. But once you start hitting that end of the middle to end of your second trimester and into your third trimester, you're not going to be doing a lot of twists. You're going to be just doing mild rotations, if that. And really, we're just trying to keep the spine moving. So again, on this right side, your left butt cheek is grounded into the ground. It's trying to keep on the mat. While you just have a very light rotation up to the ceiling to hit that quadratus lumborum. Let's take a big breath in, trying to breathe into that space. Beautiful. We'll come back to center. Let's send both legs out long. And again, depending on where you're at with your stomach, you may only get a small bend forward here. You may be where, and you're new to yoga as well, if that's the case, then you may only get to where you're touching your shins. You may get to where you're touching your ankles. You may even get to where you're all the way at your toesies. It's really listening to what's comfortable and not squishing your little tiny bean in there. So let's take a big breath in and out. Good. And we'll come back to center. We'll take a big breath in and out. And then we're going to come onto our hands and knees. Your toes can be curled or flat. And we're going to take cat-cow. Now, the modification that you need is how deep you get into that bend and that stomach dropping. So if you feel comfortable on your inhale, you kind of drop your stomach and open your chest. It can feel a lot more comfortable to really open up that fascia, but you don't want to push so hard into this cow that you begin to have stomach pains or round ligament pain. Then we're going to come into our cat. Now the important thing about this is most of the time we're trying to squeeze our abs to really arch that spine. We're not trying to do that as much. I want you to work on that motion coming from your pelvis, not your abs. So most of that should come a little bit more from your pelvis. And if you look down and you see coning in your abs, then don't push as hard. We're not trying to get to the ends of our motions here, and we're gonna just take it slow. Now, some people find this pose to be too much for their stomach, and so that's fine. If that's the case, then ease up into it, don't do it, and just stay in tabletop and move side to side. If you find cat-cow too uncomfortable, then you can do what we call quad rocking. So we're on our hands and our knees, and we just kind of rock back our left butt cheek to our left thigh. We come back forward. We rock to our right butt cheek to our right foot or thigh, and we come back up. And then we rock to our right hand, back to center, left hand, back to center. It still warms up the spine without being as aggressive. So you have those two options to start warming up the spine and get yourself moving. Good. Once we've gone through that, if you are comfortable, then you can push up into down dog. If this is too much for your stomach, then you're just going to come straight into forward fold by stepping forward. If you're able to get into down dog, let's get into down dog. And we're going to take a few breaths here. To me, I find this one very comfortable and a little bit more relaxing on the stomach than I would have thought. But if you feel like it's uncomfortable or your stomach hurts or you're getting coning, then go ahead and step to a forward fold at the front of the mat. We're just going to stay in down dog for a few breaths here. You can pedal it out to open up those hips and those hamstrings, taking a few breaths here. Beautiful. And then we're going to look at our hands and we're going to walk slowly to the top of the mat for a forward fold. This is also going to be pending if that's comfortable. If a forward fold is uncomfortable, do a halfway lift where your hands are kind of on your knees and your face a little forward to help support that stomach. Sometimes a little bit more of a fold into your second and third trimester might be a little too much. If you're able to get into that forward fold, awesome. If not, halfway lift. From here, we're just gonna step that left foot back, drop the knee, and rise up tall. And your hands are gonna be on the top of your right knee, and your left foot is back. Now, normally we're really pushing into this posture. We're trying to tighten our butt cheeks. This is not what we're doing in this case. We're really trying to just let our muscles relax our SI joint by just barely sinking into it. Normally we push a little bit to get things moving, but we're not trying to do that here because we're not trying to increase the pressure in our abdominals, which already has the pressure of a tiny human in there. So you're just really very gently sinking into this. And all you're trying to do is let gravity and let time relax these muscles here. Big breaths in and out and not overdoing it. We're then going to extend this front knee. Now if this standing up tall is comfortable, our stomach can't let us go forward, we stay up tall like this, and we can even put some blocks here at the side for some support. If not, we try to bend forward. Again, it's all stomach, your baby bump based. Baby bump based, that's the key. And all we're gonna do is just stretch a little bit. Again, we're letting gravity do most of the work. Most of the time in the Namaste Beaches flows, we really try to engage muscle energy. Not anymore. For this aspect, we're really just trying to let gravity and relax into pain-free motion. We're gonna bend that front knee, sink back forward. We're gonna hold for a breath. We're gonna put our hands on the mat, come back into tabletop. Now from here, if we're in the beginning of our second trimester, we can go through a chaturanga and up dog. If we're into our middle to end of our second trimester and we have our belly, then we're not gonna do any of that. We might just take a little rock forward with our hips, keeping everything up, and then we're just gonna send it back for down dog, gently getting there. Take a big breath in and out. Beautiful. And then we're gonna take that left foot, we're gonna come down into tabletop. Then we're gonna take that left foot and step it between our hands and rise up again on the right side. Left side. So our right leg is back, our left leg is forward. And we're just, again, gently sinking into this. The more used to yoga you are, the more you're gonna be able to sink into it without much pressure. If you're new to yoga or you're very inflexible, then you're just gonna kind of be here and sink in as what's most comfortable for you. Taking a big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. Beautiful. Extend that front knee, dive forward if you can. If not, stay up tall, grab some blocks. Take a big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. Beautiful. We're gonna come back forward, and then we're gonna step those feet forward for our either halfway lift or forward fold. Take a big breath in and out. Beautiful. And then we're gonna rise up to a tall mountain, or mountain, whatever pose you wanna go with this one. Mountain, whatever. You got it. Wonderful. So from here, we're just gonna put pressure into our right foot, ground through our right foot, pick that left foot up, and we're just gonna gently step back. We're gonna come into, depending on where your hips are at, either high crescent where that back heel is popped, or warrior one where that back heel is turned a little bit. Either way, our arms are forward. So we have warrior one, back heel is all the way on the ground, a little bit twisted, or we're in crescent where our back heel is popped. Again, this is all gonna be what trimester you're in and your hip comfort and what open your hips are from previous yoga exposure. Take a big breath in and out. Beautiful. Now we're gonna open it up for warrior two. Taking a big breath in and out. If we're in our third trimester, we may not be taking as aggressive of a stance here. We may be easing up on it. Beautiful. We're gonna very gently reverse that warrior. Your left hand can either come down that left leg or it can come across to your back. Take a big breath in. Good. And you're gonna bring that right elbow to the inside of your right knee. Left arm comes up. The reason we bring this left arm up is to really engage and stretch that muscle right there, that quadratus and those side obliques. We're gonna take a big breath in, back into warrior two, extend that front knee, and dive forward for a triangle pose. Most of the time we really try to get aggressive with the twisted triangle pose. We're not going to. If your arm can't stay up, just put it on your side and rest it. What we're really going for here is more of just some hip opening and some hamstring stretching. Big breath in and out. Beautiful. Back into warrior two. Come back into warrior one or high crescent. And then step forward at the top of your mat. Beautiful. Left leg grounded. Spit. Take that right leg back. Again, we're either in high crescent or warrior one, depending what is comfortable for your hips. Again, you may not be taking as big of a stance depending on what's comfortable and what trimester you're in. Take a big breath in and out. Beautiful. Open it up for warrior two. We'll breathe here. Reverse your warrior. Your arm either is going to come behind your back or down your right leg. Left arm travels to the back of the mat. Big breath in and out. And then come forward for an extended side angle. Left elbow on the left knee. Right arm comes up. Take a big breath in and out. Beautiful. Back into warrior two. Extend that front knee. Dive forward. If this is too much of a dive, you can put blocks to bring you up higher. And again, if that right arm being up in the air is too much, you can rest it on your side body. Take a big breath in and out. Beautiful. And rise back up, warrior two. Come back into warrior one or high crescent. And then step forward to the top of the mat. Now, depending on how tight your back is, you can go through that a few times, or we're just going to take back for our moments of breathing. So we're going to sit back onto the mat. Your feet can be either together or a little crisscross, whatever's more comfortable for where you are. And we're just going to take a few breaths here and feel if there's anywhere that still has tightness. Big breath in and out. Good. Take as many breaths as you want here. This is the Shavasana of my choice for pregnancy, an aspect that sometimes getting onto your back can be very uncomfortable. And so, sorry, I'm going to turn it to the camera. So I tend to do it seated or in child's pose, depending on what's more comfortable for you and where your stomach is at. So take as much time here in your Shavasana and your meditation as you would like, and get your breath right and try and see if your back is feeling a little bit more relaxed. All right, thanks for joining everybody for that little flow for some low back pain. In pregnancy, everybody always has low back pain in general, and then add the weight of said child in the way, and that creates a problem. It creates problems if you already had low back pain. It creates problems if you've never had low back pain. The intra-abdominal pressure, the curvature of the spine changes. Everything begins to change with pregnancy, and so a little self-care, self-love is incredibly important at this point in time, and making sure that you take care of yourself physically as well. Again, you're going to, because we have to make the disclaimer, you're going to want to make sure that you have clearance from your doctor for activity. And if you're new to yoga, some of these flows might be a little bit more advanced, but we're trying to make them so everybody can join. Yoga is incredibly beneficial in general. That's why we do it here at the beaches. But it's also incredibly important for pregnancy in the aspect that it gets the body prepped and ready for delivery. And that's really what we're aiming for. And so this is probably my favorite thing to do in the morning. And I've been doing it since about my week 10, when I started to notice that my low back was starting to feel a little bit tight. It's very short. I mean, we did it for 15 minutes. And you're good to go. And you can do that flow from warrior one to two to reverse warrior to triangle pose a few times, and it really opens up that back. And it's very light. Now, again, if you're into the further progressions into your trimesters, you may just not be able to take as wide of a stance it's really, you need to listen to what your body is saying and how you're feeling. That's really going to be very important. If you're not 100% sure, you can email us here at link below at Namaste Beaches for questions like that. You can go see a pelvic floor therapist, go see your doctor, go see somebody who's prenatal coach certified, whether that's weightlifting, yoga, anything like that, to make sure that you're feeling comfortable with what you're doing. So hopefully you guys enjoy. We'll have more like these coming at you, including tips for nausea, things like that, and really just hoping to all have a nice, healthy time in our pregnancies. We're super excited about it. No, really, we're all excited. So thanks for joining, everybody, and we'll see you next time on the mat. And remember, namaste, beaches.